Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about 10 mental health facts that are critical to your 2026 approach. So there's an article that I just read. I'll put a link to it in the description for this video. And it really deals with, sort of 10 sort of factors when it comes to mental health. And there's just a couple here that I want to point out to you. I thought these were somewhat relevant to the work that we do. And I would encourage you to read the whole article. I thought it was very well written. So here we go. These are the things that really sort of resonated with me. So here is fact number 3. Mental health conditions are treatable. Many people improve with evidence-based care. It says recovery and symptom management of mental health conditions are very possible. Effective treatment exists and allows people to regain control of their lives. So I think that's an important message. And I think one of the things about mental health sometimes is that sort of outwardly, right, someone doesn't look like they're sick. And I use the word sick because mental health, substance use, the behavioral health issues that we deal with day in and day out in our practice, these are diseases, okay? And like any disease, it has to be treated. And if it goes untreated, it gets worse with time. And like many diseases, if it gets worse, I mean, it will eventually destroy the host. And, they call they call the behavioral health diseases a family disease. Why? And the reason they do that is because it destroys the family inevitably, right? And you know that if you're watching this video, if you're a family who's got a loved one who's been suffering for many years, you know what it's doing to your family. I mean, it's just a metastasizing cancer. So I think the point number 1 that it's made here is that it's treatable. Yeah, it's a disease. It can be treated. So people go to treatment. They take medications. And yeah, you can get great results, right? The work that we do involves enabling families to make the decision that their loved one can't make, okay? And I say can't make as opposed to won't make, because when somebody has a mental health condition, a behavioral health issue, depending on how far down the proverbial rabbit hole they are, right? In all likelihood, by the time you get to us, they're not capable of making that decision. If they were, they would have made it. It's as if their brain had been kidnapped, right? Something else is running the show here. So if they're not going to make the decision to save themselves, then who is? Well, you can leave it up to the state, either through the criminal system or the mental health system, and I promise you won't like that result if you get them back, or the family can make the decision, right? And that involves going through the court process. And we're certainly happy to have a conversation with you about what that looks like. So anyway, it's treatable. I thought this was great. It says here, this is an interesting one. Most people with mental illness are not violent. I think there's some truth to that. I mean, very rarely do we encounter violence. What we do start to see is if someone's been sick for a long time, they start to become aggressive. Okay, it might mean they put their hands on people. And obviously, potentially in the whole Nick Reiner thing, there may be some evidence that he, because of his behavioral health issue, that caused him to do what he did. I think we'll have to wait and see what happens with that case. And that's an extreme. But this article is, opining that most people are not violent, but they can become violent if you let it go on and on and on and on. Yeah, this is interesting. Mental health and physical health are deeply connected. Mental health and physical health are connected. They are not two separate systems. They constantly influence one another. Yeah, I like this, and I know from my own perspective, are there days that I don't feel that great? Yeah, I think we all have those moments, right? Where we're having a moment. And I will tell you, from my perspective, going to the gym, doing some exercise, even something as basic as taking a walk can help, right? Just getting my body moving and sort of getting out of my own space, getting out of my own way helps. So I thought that was a good one. Here, mental health access is a real barrier. Oh, this is a biggie. Wait times and provider shortages are common. Um, yeah, this is important. And so, a lot of the time, families call us. There are, if you don't have good insurance that's going to cover mental health treatment, or you don't have the financial resources to pay for treatment, your options become very limited. And I'm not saying that's right. In fact, I think it's very wrong, and I've been pretty vocal about this over the years. Good treatment needs to be accessible to everyone. I'm just telling you how it works and how it is in the real world. Um, so having resources, insurance is key and critical to getting good and competent quality care for mental health issues. Because otherwise, what typically happens is somebody doesn't have those resources. In fact, I spoke to a family late last night. The son had been Baker acted multiple times. I think he was in his mid 30s, a diagnosed mental health issue, also just been arrested, and the family does not have money for treatment. They don't have health insurance. And, I had to be pretty honest with the dad and say, look, take me out of the picture. I'm just telling you from a treatment provider perspective, there's not a lot of options here. Um, you know, why don't we apply for benefits for him? And he said, well, how do I do that? I said, well, in order for you to apply for benefits on his behalf, because he's an adult, you'll need guardianship. We'll need to go to court to get you the authority. So one of the reasons to get guardianship is so you can apply for benefits for this person. Why don't we see if Uncle Sam will pay some of the bills? Why not? I mean, so anyway, mental health access is a real barrier. Yep. Yeah, I think it's a problem. Anyway, I'll let you read the article. I'll put a link in the description to the video. If you have any comments or questions, I'm very interested to hear what you have to say. This is a hot button topic. I think that we are only at the very beginning of a mental health crisis in this country, in part fueled by this very dangerous legalized marijuana, kratom, all these other new analogs that are coming along. This is a problem. But if you have any comments or questions, post them. If you agree with me, disagree with me, how about if you want me to make a video about something you've seen in your family? Because if it's affecting your family, I'm willing to bet it's probably affecting other families. I'd be happy to make you a video. And if you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. If you want more of this content, please subscribe to the channel. I try to put out a video every single day so you can get the information you need to decide if you'd like to have a conversation with us about saving your family. So with that said, I appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.